and Jean think I'm going to take more time than him. All right. First, I'd like to thank the Mosque Cares for allowing me to present again here, first Sunday. I want to welcome also individuals who are watching us via Facebook Live. You know, we record this program and Imam and Jean's program via Facebook Live. And there are people who are watching this through their Facebook accounts, wherever they are. So we want to welcome them here and give them to also express the greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum to them. May God's peace be with you. You know, my class deals with technology and business. And so at the last first Sunday, I said I was going to talk about cash and the Cash App. And that's what I'm going to do. But by way of introduction, first I want to acknowledge where that came from. Sister Najwa? Is that Sister Najwa? I'm saying it right? Okay. I heard her, I was doing a presentation here on how to use, I think it was online apps in your business. And she asked me, do you use cash? I had never heard of cash, okay? And so you know me, I went out and started researching it. I've been using it for a long time now, ever since she mentioned that. So, and it's worked well for me. There's a lot that I've been able to do with it, with my own personal life and with my grandchildren or whatever. So I want to share that with you, all of you, and those who are watching. So I titled my subject, my presentation, my class presentation is using the Cash App as an alternative to prepaid debit cards, okay? As an alternative to prepaid debit cards. And so what I want to do is I want to play just a video, an audio clip from NPR that talks about these prepaid debit cards. I'm going to have to adjust the sound, so just give me a second while I, but you don't need, it's just going to be audio. So it's not going to be individual. It's going to be audio, but I need to adjust the sound. I just want to listen. There's no video. So let me put the sound up.
This is All Things Considered from NPR News. I'm Audie Cornish. Guy Raz is away. There's a holiday tradition that's taking a hit this year. People are backing away from their credit cards. After Black Friday weekend, financial industry watchers found that fewer than 20% of shoppers used credit cards to buy stocking stuffers, the lowest rate in nearly 3 decades. Instead, there's a new kind of plastic on the rise, prepaid debit cards. And they could be the next big thing for a financial industry that's worried about losing billions in revenue as new Wall Street regulations take effect in the coming months. You might recognize the pitch.
Prepaid cards give you the power of plastic, but they allow you to manage your money in a way that's right for you. You are in complete control.
The cards are disposable and reloadable, kind of like a store gift card, except they can be used anywhere that takes credit. And unlike a standard debit card, they aren't attached to your bank account. Americans loaded $28 billion onto these cards last year, double what they did in 2007. So our cover story today, the pitfalls of the new plastic. But first, 2 very different experiences with prepaid cards.
My name is Dennis Briskin. I'm 65 years old. I live in Palo Alto, California. My son was going to be in Spain for a month on a homestay as part of a Spanish language study. And we wanted him to have walking around money. So we were investigating a prepaid debit card as a secure way for him to have access to money. And we decided not to give him one of those cards, primarily because it seemed that the balance of the fees and convenience / security was unfavorable to the consumer. There was an initial cost of, I don't know, maybe $15 or $20 to get one of these cards. And then you would load up the card, and I believe there was a fee based on how much you were adding value to the card. And then if you allowed the card to go down to 0, there was a penalty charge to reload the card. There was an additional charge. So if I wanted to give my son $1,500, it looked like after the fees, I was going to wind up giving him, I don't know, $1,350. It just seemed excessive. So we decided, no, let's find a different way to do it.
Joel Talkstead is my name. I'm 28 years old, and I live here in Bend, Oregon. About 5 years ago or so, I was in a really bad car accident, and I had broken my back, and I didn't have any medical insurance. and so I started paying for all these outrageous medical bills and x-rays and specialists and whatnot with my credit card, which accumulated very quickly. And it got to the point where, with all these fees and penalties, my monthly payments were so outrageous I couldn't afford to make them. When they started calling my family and the creditors were bugging my family for cash that they didn't have and I didn't have, and finally I cut all ties with my banks because I just absolutely had it with these big banks. And actually, to this day, I still don't have a checking account. And so then, a couple years down the road, I realized that you kind of have to have a card in this country to get by. I mean, with the hotels, and occasionally I'll use it to pay my power bill or even like Netflix, small things like that. So I went and got myself a prepaid card with Green Dot, which actually I've been fairly happy with. So at the end of this whole ordeal, I got to chop up my credit cards and toss them all away. It was a great feeling.
Not everyone who's moving to a prepaid card is tossing that old plastic, but such debit cards are now the fastest growing of all electronic transactions. To find out why people are moving to reloadable prepaid cards, I talked with Terry Maher, who spent the last 25 years advising financial institutions. He says one big reason for the switch is convenience.
The card is usable anywhere where the card brand, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover, can be used. Second, it's a lot safer than carrying cash. Third, the consumer can better budget and keep track of what they're spending. And fourth, even giving the card to the recipient. If I tried to pick out clothing for my nieces, they would probably return it. But if I give them a branded gift card, they can go pick out what they want and which meets their needs, and they're extremely happy with it.
At the same time, over the last couple of weeks, one of the big sort of kickers in the news was about the Kardashian card, the card that was fronted by the, I don't know what you would call them, celebutantes, the Kardashian
I wanted
sisters.
to get one of those cards, yeah.
Who were helping to promote a sort of prepaid debit card and who faced a lot of backlash because of the criticism of the amount of fees on the card. And there's been a lot of highlighting of the fee structure of the way these cards work. Is this a step back?
Well, I think there's two things. One, the Kardashian card was an outlier. If my kids were younger and they had requested the card, I would say no. There's a whole lot of other cards out there, the Green Dot card, the Capital One card, pre-cash, which can be used at very, very low cost.
But the concern of consumer groups has been that it wasn't an outlier, that it might actually be a signal of what's to come. It seems as though this is a new marketplace for banks to make money.
Well, I guess you have to look at it in comparison to what? The most expensive is to be unbanked. For the consumer to have to get their paycheck, go to a check casher, pay 2 to 3% of the check casher to cash their check, then to buy money orders to pay their bills. The unsafeness of carrying around cash. We have studies that show that compared to a person who doesn't have a bank account, or a person who even has a low balance checking account, which are not free anymore, that the prepaid card fees over the year average about $100 to $150 per year. That's much less than what an unbanked consumer would pay for the check cashing and for the money orders, etc., or what a consumer would pay for a low balance checking account today.
So, I mean, in a way, that's sort of a tough choice. It's like if you want to be a part of the current economy, which is more and more card-based, this is the new basic option, you're saying.
This is the solution. We're providing a solution to a community that otherwise would have a great difficulty in participating in everyday activities.
That's Terry Maher, General Counsel for the network-branded Prepaid Card Association and partner with Baird Home LLP in Omaha, Nebraska. Mr. Maher, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Credit card companies bounced more than 8 million people from their rolls last year, according to credit reporting agencies. And while reloadable cards may be convenient, are they the solution? Not so much, says Adam Levitin. He's a law professor at Georgetown who specializes in financial regulation.
There are plenty of other problems with prepaid debit cards, and these problems come up because prepaid debit cards are virtually unregulated. There are a few major issues with them. First and foremost are simply the number and amount of fees. These fees can easily eat up most of the value stored on a card. In preparation for talking with you, I just went and looked at a couple cards and I started making a list of the types of the numbers of fees they have and the types. So we've got fees to buy the cards, activation fees, monthly charges or maintenance fees, cash withdrawal fees, those are for using an ATM, balance inquiry fees, they charge you to find out how much money you have on the card. Convenience fees, that's if you use your PIN number for a transaction rather than a signature. Reloading fees, inactivity fees, dormancy fees, there are expiration dates, and if it expires, you lose whatever money's on the card. Plan change fees, cancellation fees, I love that one. And then, all sorts of fees for doing things like getting paper statements, currency conversion, so forth.
So what's left on the card?
That's the question. That's really the problem. So we had recently the Kardashian card, and it's estimated that the fees for using it for a year would be almost $100. Similarly, Consumers Union estimates that Russell Simmons' Rush card in the first month could cost a consumer more than $43 in fees.
Right, Russell
Really,
Simmons is the famous rap mogul. And
that's right. He's lent his name to this prepaid product, which he likes to market as that he's helping low to moderate income communities because it helps them avoid going to check cashing outlets, which can be very expensive. But he's just replacing one expensive form of financial services for the poor with another. And it's hard to say which is really better.
so did the Dodd-Frank legislation, and this is the Wall Street reform legislation that passed earlier this year, did it leave a loophole, or is this, the growth of an industry like this, a test, its first step?
Okay, I'm gonna stop there because they're getting into something a little more technical, but you got the gist. Am I correct? All right. The gentleman who was speaking before, this gentleman was speaking, of course, he works for the prepaid debit card industry. So he was speaking to try to protect that industry, right? But also, this was recorded in 2010. I didn't know but I heard it just recently, okay? And when I heard it, I told my wife, because I was already going to prepare to talk about the Cash App. And when I heard it, I told my wife, I said, oh, I need to play that just so people can get an idea of the issue with the prepaid debit card. All right, well, let's talk about cash now, all right? Cash was created by the company called Square. And I talked about Square before. It is excellent. It is fantastic. All these fees, you don't have those fees. So let me tell you how it works and how I use it. And if you have a desire to, I think Imam, if he comes back, I think someone downloaded the Cash App and set it up the last time. I just spoke about it. All right, but let me talk a little bit more about how it works and why I say it's a good alternative to the prepaid debit card for yourself or for a member of your family, particularly if you have children or grandchildren, something like that, particularly if they're going to college or something like that and you want to send them money. With the Cash App, and it's called Cash, now, it doesn't make any difference if you are if you have an iPhone or if you have an Android phone. You just go to, if you have an Android phone, you go to, I think it's called Google Play. Play Store, and just type in cash. Just type in cash, and it should come up, all right? If you have an iPhone, you go to the App Store and type in cash, all right? And it will come up. It's a free download. You set it up, and if you have a bank, it's great. That's just a reminder for me to pay my bill at Bank of America. If you have a bank, but you don't have to have a bank to use cash. You don't have to have a bank or a debit or like I do. I use a bank and a credit union, but you don't have to have any of them to use it. But it's good if you do. I'll tell you why. Because you can transfer money real easy because you're gonna have to load your Cash App some kind of way. All right, you got to put money on the Cash App, and it's free to put money on it, and it's free to send money, and it's even free to transfer money if you're willing to wait. And I'll tell you how that works. All right. When you set the app up, you have to choose a name. They call it a tag. It's called a cash tag. And up on that's mine. and that's my cash tag. Cash tag will always begin with a dollar sign. Always begin with a dollar sign. That's my cash tag. So if anybody wants to send me money, they'd have to have that cash tag to send it to me. All right? And so when you set it up, and if someone wants to send you money, what you would do is, I did this. I just took a picture of brought that up on my phone. I took a screenshot of it and saved it as a photo. So, because people ask me all the time, what's your cash tag? And so I just send them this. I just text this to them. Because they have to make sure that it's accurate. If it's off anyway, I won't get the money, okay? But if it's off by a letter, or if it's not capitalized, it has to be, this is a path, it has to be exactly like this for me to get the money. I heard a story, I don't know if it's true or not. Someone said they lost money with cash. The only way you can lose money with cash is you made a mistake, okay? You either made a mistake sending the money, or somebody made a mistake sending the money to you. That's the only way you can lose money with it. All right. So, but once you set it up, it's so easy to use. Now, you can link it to a current debit card that you have with your bank, or if you want to do it that way. I did, and I linked it to our account at Chase. We have a business account at Chase. Now, my personal account is at a credit union, and I hope you understand why. The credit union, the rates are so much more reasonable, all right? Doesn't cost me anything for my checking account. I pay $5 to join, and that's it. I have a checking account. No monthly fees, nothing like that for my checking account at the credit union. All right. I'm fortunate. I think I told you all this. If I didn't, I just want to repeat it. When I joined Chase, and we opened up a business account, at the time, as long as you had 5 debit transactions, your checking account is free. This is about, I think we had that account now 10, maybe about 15 years we've had that account. That's not the way it is today. But as long as you don't change it, they maintain it. So I always make sure we have more than 5, and I have way more than 5 debit transactions now. So my checking account with Chase, our business checking account, there's no fees. No monthly statement fee, is what I want to say. Okay. All right. So let me continue now. Once you set this up, you can also get, if you want, you don't have to, they will give you a debit card connected to cash, free. Doesn't cost you anything to get this debit card. Now you'll ask, so how do they make money?
Square, right?
They're owned by Square.
Owned by Square.
They own. Cash is owned by Square.
You blowing my mind now, because I paid for like an $800 card machine, monthly fee.
Oh yeah, you don't have to do that no more. Right?
I'm going back 20 years.
Yeah.
Whenever Square came out,
Yes.
saved me from all that. I'm like, Square is heaven sent. They replaced all that hardware
Yes.
and all them fees with a
But
little
the card, with a card reader.
with a little bitty card reader that you stick in your phone.
That's right.
It
That's
just-
right.
I felt like
That's
I was
right.
on the Jetsons.
That's right. And so they developed this. They developed cash, and this is the beauty of this. I signed the front of it. You can design it the way you want to, the color and stuff like that. It's a debit card. It's connected to your cash app. All right. But this is the beauty of it. You know, whenever you use a debit card, you know there's what they call those interbank fees. That's a fee, but you don't pay it. The merchant pays it. Okay. This is a branded card. You see, it's a Visa card. And there's a fee. The way Square makes money, whenever you use this, that fee, they get a portion of it. Visa gets a portion, Square gets a portion. But the merchant pays it. You know why? Because they want more. See, more people walk in and use these cards. So anytime you use a debit card or a credit card, there's a fee. You just don't see it. It's called an interbank fee. You just don't know about it, all right? Because you don't have to pay it. Now, of course, the merchant gets it back in the way they price their goods. Though you can believe me, they get it back. Okay. Or as you see, if you're going down the street and you see, go by a gas station, you see how much it costs for credit and how much it costs for cash, and for credit is always a little bit more. That's what they're doing. They're trying to recoup that fee. All right. All right. So, but the beauty of it, anytime you use it, it's tracked. And Square lets you know how much you spend and where you spend it. All right, if you use this. You don't have to carry cash around. You don't have to carry cash around if you have this and you have money on your app. Okay?